I finally have a concrete shed floor. This is a big deal. Look at all this. All I see is possibilities. Hello, yes, I feel like a little child sitting at a big boy table. My chair is too low. So, it's the best I've got. I'm gonna make do today. It's the inaugural next knife review video in my new knife lab. Yes, we are redoing this little area, and so as a byproduct of that, I've got myself some good tool chests, a nice new workbench. It's all kind of nice. I'm excited to be here. So, busting out for my inaugural knife review video, the Lionsteel Gitano. Yeah, I was sitting at home, I think I'd had a couple, and I thought my collection needs a slip joint because I don't have a slip joint. The weird metrics you're thinking sometimes. And sure enough, when I woke up the next morning, I knew I was doing it at the time. I ordered a Lionsteel Gitano from AussieKnives.com because I've had pretty decent experience with Lionsteel in the past. The knives generally come pretty well made. I usually have the expectation that they're going to come a little bit thicker behind the edge. They're usually going to come in commonly used European steels like D2 type variants or M390 type variants, things like that. And as such, I was pretty, my expectations were fairly met by the Gitano. What drew me to it was their very unique design. Well, this is a pretty unique looking knife from Gudi von Poppel. Very sort of thin tapering off handle with a little ball at the end of it. And then kind of a large, comparatively, like a big sort of chunky looking blade. Almost looks like more blade than handle, although it's not quite, but certainly got that appearance. It's a tall clip point Nylox blade. So Nylox is a commonly used Lionsteel steel, and it's a D2 variant modified for increased stainlessness and also edge retention. Apparently, I don't really see that translate. I feel like it holds an edge about the same as D2, but it is certainly more stainless, as proven by how it looks, because I've been using this for some time now and it is not rusted or really tarnished in any way. So Cool, I'm happy with that. Nylox is a non-powder steel, so just your standard ingot steel. So, getting a bit, longer in the tooth perhaps in terms of what you might get on some of the other Lionsteel modern gentleman's folders as well. A lot of those are in M390. Anyway, I've been happy enough with Lionsteel's Nylox, and I guess you do get the knife for about 200 Australian dollars rather than 300-ish Australian dollars, which is what some of the other some of the M390 versions are. Anyway, look, this is a slip joint knife. I am gonna call it like I see it. A slip joint knife is the most inferior way of both opening and closing a knife. Yeah, I said it. I also don't care that you broke your elbow. It's like, I can't pretend that this is as easy day to day when getting the knife out of my pocket to use it on something in a fluid way than opening any other knife that has one hand opening, has some kind of lock, whatever. I cannot pretend that this is of any benefit to me personally. It may be a benefit to you if you live somewhere where this is the only kind of knife you can get. And I guess in that case, you've got a lot of blade to grab onto. Geez, it's got some walk and talk though. A lot of blade to grab onto, open and close. And, I guess it does the job okay of being a vastly inferior and old-fashioned locking mechanism. Yeah, maybe unpopular, maybe a bad take, but I don't get why you would opt for this when there's all sorts of other technologies, apart from, I guess, that whole X factor, because it's different, which is exactly why I bought this knife, because my collection needs a slip joint, apparently. So here it is, my slip joint for my collection, and I guess I'm happy with it. Once I'm over the fact that it's a slip joint, there's no point in me looking at it and saying, don't be a slip joint, because I'm the dickhead who bought it. But it's, once I'm over that, everything else it does as a knife is quite good. So in hand, it's very comfortable. The little ball on the end of the handle sits really nicely against this part of my hand. Almost kind of pistol grip-ish, getting there almost, quite nice. My thumb rides nicely on the somewhat crowned spine, does a good job. There is a fair bit of rigidity in this slip joint. The spring goes all the way around to the back, and it is a fairly decent spring to have to overcome. You're not going to do it accidentally. I've been using it for larger jobs and things with thick cardboard and those plastic tires that you could not accidentally lock the knife shut on yourself, and it has never come close. So I guess that's fine. The blade cuts better than I expected. It still isn't ground as well as like a TRM Atom or as a Buck 110, which is still got one of the better grinds going. But it's a flat grind from Lionsteel, and it's better than most flat grind from Lionsteel knives. I think owing to the blade being a little bit taller, I don't know, maybe they've just done a slightly lower angle bevel. It feels like it might be at about 19, 18 degrees or something. Usually Lionsteels feel like they come at about 21 degrees and almost semi-convex. So, this one's doing quite well. Still not, amazing, but it does the PVC vinyl tubing type test as good as I would have expected. It certainly has exceeded my expectations for a Lionsteel knife. So, good job, I guess. The handle here is olive wood and then titanium for the bolsters. Has a pocket clip that carries quite well. Not reversible, so it is just the way it comes. Some people will hate a lot about this handle. Traditional knife guys will think it's too busy. You can see the pivot. The pivot is a little bit frustratingly like to your OCD. It's kind of like a bit out of whack, a bit wonky kind of thing. And then lots of folks hate the exposed screws, even though they do generally mean you can take bits and pieces off the knife. Most folks, or a lot of folks in this game, would rather just be without that and have seamless. So just saying something that others might say, I don't mind myself. I actually think it looks kind of nice. It looks kind of like machinist-y, like it's got a little bit, bit of complexity to it. And I'm fine with that, but I can certainly understand that folks who are raised on jig bone handled GECs probably think this is ugly as shit. I think the knife blade looks great though. This is like a really quite dramatic looking clip point. Does a really good job of cutting too. Nice piercy point, very sharp point. And again, bringing back to this slip joint notion, when you go to close this guy, it's not outside the realms, rather, that you could accidentally rake your fingers down across the back of that very nice clip tip and give yourselves one of those, which is exactly what it is. Off it came one time and just gave me a little bit of a bite. I only did it once, but again, slip joint knives, they are probably you're most likely to cut yourself, I think, on a slip joint knife versus any other knife, unless it's got a really wacky lock like that ram lock on the bottom of the Cold Steel Bushman. I mean, that always gave me the willies as well. But realistically, a walk and talkie slip joint can bite the user before you get used to it, unless you sort of approach it slowly and with a bit of caution. So for that reason, I'm certainly not a convert to the traditional style knife, especially when it's not a locking knife. I think that there's a reason that things improved and got better and developed past this, but this one does a nice job of being a slip joint knife. The olive wood handle smells nice. It smells like olive oil, and it is the cheapest one too. So I got this, I think, for about $200 from Aussie Knives. You could spend up to about $260 on various ebony woods or micartas or things like that. Lionsteel do a good job of having lots of variants in their modern traditionals, as long as you're happy to put up with sinful exposed hardware. So there we are. So yeah, I've enjoyed this. I've used it a lot. Probably for the last week or so, have put a lot of miles on it, thinking about all the stuff I've unboxed and opened while I've been getting all this together. Everything in this room has come in a box of some sort, and it's come with boxes full of staples and full of like those really strong nylon tapey things that hold things tight for truck shipments and stuff like that. And this has conquered all that stuff. So it's done well. The steel has held up very, very well. The Nylox is a D2 type variant. This is a blade made of Nylox. They say it's improved for both edge retention and stainlessness, but I'm not quite sure how that's possible. It's got less carbon in it than D2 by a fair margin. And I know things like that can still come out, about evenly. It definitely is more stainless than D2. I feel like in the edge retention, it's about the same as a good D2 though. So there we are. But yeah, it's certainly not rusted in any sense, and I've used it on all this, outdoorsy stuff, boxy stuff, and I've also done the arbitrary food prep stuff, where you've got a knife in your pocket and you somehow think it's going to be easy to use your much shorter pocket knife to cut through a giant squash than just get a kitchen knife, because somehow it's easier to just have the knife that's in your pocket rather than walk over the drawer. I can't rationalize it to myself, and it's me doing it, but I'm sure you've all been there as well. Anyway, it's done fine on all those jobs as well, and so the Nylox steel and the grind it is presented in has actually exceeded my expectations, which has been fine. It's still not going to cut like Magna Cut or anything like that, but for a slip joint knife that's for probably occasional carry or gentleman carry or fedora carry or cigars and what are the other basic gentleman things, cigars and Zippo lighters and all that sort of thing carry, and Instagram sepia filmed tone photo carry, then it's probably going to meet all your needs just fine. Lionsteel Gitano. Hope you don't mind the stream of consciousness review. I'm just getting back on the horse, to be honest. I've had my kids home, and they still are, for the duration of the school holidays. I've been really busy at work, and just kind of setting all this up, the channel has unfortunately taken a back seat. So here we go, back into things. I'm hoping. Catch me on Michael Emler's channel this Friday for you America folks, or Saturday at about 2 p.m. for the Australians. We're doing a live chat, so we'll see what Mike's got in mind for me. It'll be interesting, I'm sure, to say the least. That's all. I validate the purchase of the Lionsteel Gitano by saying it's been quite good. And I'll see you all in the next film. Goodbye. I don't know, this is a really nice and all, but I gotta say, I feel like something might be missing.
Surprise, soft boys.
Whoa, it's bricky, and you're an actual brick this time.
Well, at least you can use it for more merchandising opportunities. You filthy shill. Hey Pete. I heard you bought a new axe.
Yeah, it's my new Grandsfors Brux carpenter's axe. See that? Pretty cool, huh? What do you reckon? Got a nice flat blade there for wood carving and for planing things flat.
I will never tire of watching the human male continue his struggle against the modern world and his incompatibility with it. The inherent traits of the human male, being increased durability and stamina as a persistence predator, and a lower aversion to risk-taking behaviors are now almost entirely obsolete in the modern world. However, in a tech-assisted society, the innate skills of women, being collaboration, cooperation and adherence to communal norms are only increasing in desirability. So what do human males do in the face of obsolescence? They buy tools designed for a world which now barely exists and build themselves an echo chamber in which to celebrate them.
Wow, surprisingly progressive for a talking brick. I suppose I will see you in the next film. We will see you in the next film. And it goes on and on, and on and on.
You are making videos about things that barely even solve real problems anymore. I am going to remain, and watch it burn.